The terrorist state, still known as Russia, shot down an Azerbaijan Airlines passenger plane over Chechnya. The flight was operating the Baku-Grozny route. But then something went wrong, and the plane headed to an alternate airfield in Kazakhstan, where it crashed to the ground. Holes from the fragments of an anti-aircraft missile are clearly visible on the wreckage of the plane. Surviving passengers claimed that before landing in Grozny, they heard explosions outside the aircraft, and it was at that moment that Grozny's air defense was repelling a drone attack. Most likely, the plane was attacked by a Pantsir S-1 system. The control systems failed and the cabin depressurized. This is yet another crime committed by Moscow. And how does the Kremlin behave when it gets caught red-handed? It starts lying a lot and shamelessly. The story with the Azerbaijani Embraer 190 was a repeat, identical to what happened with the Malaysian Boeing shot down over Donbass in 2014. Rosaviatia immediately stated that the plane was damaged as a result of a bird strike. Of course, that does happen, but in this case, it sounds like a mockery of common sense. I'd be interested to see the kind of birds that could cause such damage. Perhaps there is an unknown to science species of Chechen finch that explodes at the sight of an airplane. Or maybe these are some as yet unstudied woodpeckers that literally peck through the fuselage in search of logic. Once again, following their usual playbook, Moscow started throwing out different versions. The dumber the options, the better. It was exactly the same with the Malaysian Boeing, a Ukrainian fighter jet defying the laws of physics, a Spanish air traffic controller, and a cabin full of corpses. In
social networks posts appeared from a Spanish air traffic controller Carlos striking the Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777.
Ukrainian planes were escorting the Boeing shortly before it disappeared from radar, reported the air traffic controller from Kyiv airport.
This is done to cover up the tracks and distract from the real cause of the disaster. Amidst the stream of unbelievable theories, the main version loses its credibility.
And that doesn't trick another nut, that's just not right, my friend.
After the armor-piercing birds theory, there were versions about an oxygen tank exploding in the plane's cabin. But then, how was the plane damaged from the outside? Don't ask yourself this pointless question. The oxygen tank is a classic example of misdirection.
The main version of what happens is a collision with birds. According to some reports, there was an explosion on the plane.
Then it turned out that the Azerbaijani airliner was shot down by a Ukrainian drone. And no one seems bothered by the fact that the drone flies 3 times slower than the Embraer and is designed to hit ground targets. The main thing here is that you can blame the Ukrainians for everything.
You can't go against nature, your mother-in-law, or the Ukrainians.
The final note was the Russian side's statement about a technical malfunction of the plane. And this version is now being considered as the main one. Checkmate to your own eyes. The plane was turned into a sieve because of a technical malfunction. So according to Moscow's main version, the Azerbaijanis themselves are to blame, and maybe a little bit the Brazilians who manufacture this plane.
This is just absolutely disgraceful, indeed.
But the Embraer 190 is actually a fairly new model with high safety ratings. There have only been 2 recorded accidents, and in both cases they were due to crew error. The press service of Azerbaijan Airlines, of course, thought this was crazy, but for the record, told TASS agency, the crashed plane was manufactured in 2013. and underwent its last full technical inspection in October 2024.
As noted in the airline statement, since the last inspection, the plane had flown 671 hours.
Basically, there's no point in discussing any other theories. There is only one possibility. The Azal plane was operating the Baku-Grozny flight. As the plane was approaching the capital of Chechnya, it was hit by an air defense missile, possibly mistaken for a drone, because at that very time there was an air raid on the North Caucasus.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
The exact place and time the airliner was shot down are even known. It could have been hit in the sky over the Norsky district, where a unit equipped with air defense systems is stationed. The missile strike occurred 18 kilometers north of Grozny airport at an altitude of about 2,500 meters. It is known that these air defense units are equipped with the Panzer S-1 system.
Coincidence? I don't think so.
This sequence of events is confirmed by surviving passengers. The survivor Subhanko Rakimov gave an interview to Rasha Today.
By my count, he tried to land twice. But then, the third time, something exploded.
Inside the plane?
There was an explosion. I wouldn't say it was inside the plane.
Notice how the propagandist tries to push the version about an explosion inside the plane.
Inside the plane, there was an explosion.
But the passenger is sure that the impact came from outside.
I took the vest, and I see there's a hole in it pierced by shrapnel. After that explosion, a piece of shrapnel flew right between my legs, somewhere around there, and got under the vest, piercing straight through. There's even a hole in my vest. I recorded it on my phone too. Maybe it hit somewhere over there. Maybe it struck near the fuselage. But there was an explosion. There was shrapnel.
Another passenger, Zaur Mamedov, also spoke about the explosions. He claims there were several. Then they flew for a couple of hours and crashed.
Don't worry. Our plane crashed and broke apart. I'm alive. Somewhere in Kazakhstan. Yeah, box pass, to be honest. For about 2 hours I was traveling, flying, and honestly, I don't even remember how long it was, but during that time I was just waiting for my death, thinking it could happen at any moment.
A completely clear picture emerges. Russian air defense damages the Azerbaijani plane, after which it directs it to an alternate airfield in Makhachkala. But it's impossible to land there because of the fog, so they send it to Aktau in Kazakhstan. And that's strange? Why didn't they send it back to Azerbaijan? The distance from Makhachkala to Baku is only 30 kilometers farther than to Aktau. But the valiant Russian air traffic controllers send a damaged, poorly controlled plane to fly across the Caspian Sea to a small local airfield in a third country, instead of landing it at the modern international airport in Baku, which has all the necessary equipment and infrastructure to handle such incidents.
I really don't know.
It's very simple. Moscow didn't want the plane to fall into Azerbaijani hands, because then the cause of the crash would have been immediately discovered. The aircraft, risking the lives of those on board, was sent to Kazakhstan, which is a military ally of Russia. There, they'll try to cover up at least some details of the crime. Of course, if the plane had landed in Makhachkala or crashed into the Caspian Sea, we would never have learned the truth. They would have told us that the Azerbaijani plane was shot down by Ukrainian combat geese equipped with anti-aircraft mosquitoes.
A drone transports and releases infected mosquitoes in a designated area.
But Kazakhstan is not Russia, and videos and photos confirming the real causes of the tragedy immediately appeared online. Even the most fanatical Z propagandists admit that Moscow has blood on its hands. The Telegram channel Fighter Bomber mocks the Kremlin's many absurd versions and acknowledges the obvious. The bird story has been debunked, and the appearance of this video was only a matter of time. For a while, they'll keep going on pointlessly about whether it was an air defense missile or a bomb in the luggage compartment. But I don't think that'll last long. The tragedy happened again because Moscow was never punished for the Malaysian Boeing. Impunity inevitably leads to repeat offenses. This disaster is a warning to all airlines that, for some reason, are still flying over the swamps. Russia is a war zone, at least up to the Ural Mountains. And as we can see, Moscow isn't particularly concerned about flight safety.
I would like to remind you that this video is created for entertainment purposes and contains elements of satire and irony. All facts and events are presented in a hyperbolized or exaggerated form to convey a comedic or dramatic effect. Our goal is not to mislead, but to highlight humor. Please take it with a smile.